The first entry in Project Red has made its debut, so it's time to talk about Gavan Infinity. Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and before I talk about Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity Episode 1, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comment section if you've seen it. Are you excited going into it, a little skeptical, a fan of the original Gavan or other Metal Hero series? Please let me know anything and everything else down in the comment section. Personally, if you want my thoughts on Project Red and Gavan Infinity, sorry, I'm trying to work on saying it properly now. Make sure you check out some of my previous videos. I've talked a bit about it previously. Now we're here to talk about it because it's actually out. And while I was a little skeptical before, I was intrigued, and I will say that this definitely makes me more intrigued and delivers on some of the things I was hoping for. I'm not like won over by Project Red or anything yet, but I will be watching weekly and seeing where this show goes. I am still interested, mainly because that episode 1 opening, or this episode's opening, there's only episode 1, the big space battle with the multiple Gavarian Cosmo robots in the different forms and all the Gavans standing on top of them was super fucking awesome. I was not expecting like a big cool space battle with multiple robots to start the show. I was not under the assumption there were multiple Gavarian Cosmos. And it was just pretty cool. And it does give us a couple little details about the show. Like, I think the first line of the show is about the Maku space engulfing all of Earth's Cosmo layers. They just throw those terms at us, and then later we get an explanation of what the Cosmo layers are. It's just different dimensions, but I like they have a little term for it. And we don't yet know what Maku space is, but I'll get more on that in a moment. But I think it's cool we're already introducing these kinds of ideas in that opening, alongside introducing future Gavans in the opening. Because obviously we get our main 3 that we've seen in all the marketing, but we see what looks like a bronze Gavan and a purple Gavan, and I have no idea what these are. I'm going to assume they will show up in the future. I mean, I'm almost 100% sure that the bronze one is Kiki's friend that is with her in all of the marketing stuff. Like, surely if she's not Luminous, I guess she's the Luminous copy because it's a recolor of Luminous. No idea on the purple one. Obviously, I think the biggest guess for who the purple one is I think Death Gavan or Gavan Death, whatever that name is. We do not see him this episode, but I think they released an official picture of him. And we have a voice actor now, so he seems like he's going to be important in the show. So I assume he becomes a purified purple one, but, you know, I have no idea. I think it's cool. And also, what makes this scene cool is that it does feel like it's going to we'll circle back around to it at some point. Like, because it was the guy seeing, what's his name, Karel, seeing the future. And he was like, Gavan, we need to prevent this future. And I'm like, is this going to be like Kamen Rider X-Aid, where we get an episode 1 opening shot and it appears in the finale or something? I think that'd be pretty cool. This episode felt kind of like a police drama, where we got a main officer running around, solving crime, fighting bad guys from different organizations. We're getting an explanation on what this organization is and how our main guy and his comrades in the organization all work and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And like, we got the tokusatsu twist on all that, like the organizations of bad guys are spanning the multiverse. The organization our good guy works for seems to span the multiverse. Our main officer transforms into a red Kamen Rider. I mean, Power Ranger. I mean, Metal Hero. Is he even called a Metal Hero? He's not part of the Metal Hero series, but he is Gavan. So, before the show started, in some of my previous videos, I was saying it was interesting. There's no mention of a villain faction, and we didn't really see any of the bad guys. And it seems like that's because of at least episode 1 is kind of more of that police drama angle, where the bad guys are just kind of generic dudes we fight with the Emerald Gear powers. And the Maku space, as I mentioned, they I don't think it was mentioned after the opening in episode 1, but in the teaser they say that the Emerald Gear are going to open Maku space, and we see obviously this episode that a monster shows up when an Emerald Gear is used too much or something to that extent, versus the guy in the first fight who just got an arm, and we see next episode we also get a guy with an arm, but we also got monsters. So I think it's kind of interesting that monsters are like not a normal occurrence, at least in these fight scenes in the show. It does give me budget saving reasons, like, oh, we only have one monster suit. We made one monster suit and it will be used sparingly. And in the meantime, we'll have the really cool Gavan suits fight normal people, stuntmen, uh, which is a little weird. But you know, it's a new show. We'll have to get used to it. Either way, I mean, I'm sure we'll get more monsters later, and it's kind of cool. We're teasing this bigger intergalactic or interdimensional, sorry, cosmic threat that goes beyond the terrorists and criminals, which will probably lead into whatever's happening in the opening. I will say the characters are fine. No one really stood out to me. Like, the only part that really stood out to me was Reiji talking about, like, people's emotions. He's, like, attuned to them, or he's interested in people's emotions, which is interesting to me only because we know the Gear all use emotions. Like, they're all, that's what they're, emotional gear. That's what that name means. So I think it's kind of interesting our main character is not obsessed with emotions, but the theme, the gimmick of this show is emotions. So I think that kind of makes me like the Gear a bit more, because to talk about the aesthetics a bit, actually, I still don't love the look of the toys. I love the look of the Gavan. Gavan Infinity looks so beautiful in this episode. Bushido looks fine. We get a tease of him at the end, but I think he's a cool suit, and I really like Luminous. The robots are fine, they're whatever, but I like the weapon angle, where, like, we get the little weapon he uses this episode, and we know those, we see and that those attach to the robots. And I wish they kind of went in more on that as a gimmick, because I feel like the little emotional batteries that stick into the gun that opens at a weird angle, like, that just looks weird, it feels weird. Now that we kind of get it in the show itself, it feels a little better, because it's all, like, police gear, but, like, nothing feels the same as, like, him with the badge and pulling out the sword. Like, I think that's a cool little thing, and I feel like the gun and the batteries do not capture that. But I do like the transformation sequence. I like how I haven't seen the original Gavan. I forgot to mention that up top. I will eventually, because, you know, I'm watching this show. But I do know about him saying Jochaku, sorry, I said that weird. I do know about him saying Jochaku, and then the suit appears, and then they rewind and show it, like, in another sequence, and they kind of recreate that here. And I think that's fun. I feel like if they're doing a reboot of that show, it's cool to kind of do that with modern effects. And also I like that they don't do it every time. He morphs very quickly earlier, but it's cool that it gives us that big moment later where they can show off all the transformations and stuff. And the fact they say Jochaku because they said it in the original show, that's fun. And I actually heard the theme song for the first time in this episode, and I've forgotten what it sounds like at this moment, but I think it was cool, and I like the singer, so that's nice. Agi is probably the only other standout character to me, just because of the moment where she appears as a medic in the other dimension. I think that was a fun little gag. I'm assuming we'll see more of those. And also the little bit where she's, like, explaining, like, the stuff. Like, she seems like a funny, like, little gag character, so I'm excited to see more of that. And the biggest surprise for me, and the thing I am mostly looking forward to, I guess, in the next few episodes, is I wasn't expecting him to start traveling and meeting the other Gavans already, and for that to be the through line of this early arc. I kind of thought we would get individual episodes of each Gavan in their own world, and then we'd start traveling the universe, multiverse, and have them start meeting and stuff like that. And it puts Bushido in an interesting position, because he seems to be somewhat antagonistic for at least the end of this episode and maybe going to next episode, which is a unique kind of thing to be doing with these kinds of characters. And I will see what they do with that next week. So if you want to see my review on episode 2 next week, I will be doing short reviews for Gavan Infinity. So make sure you subscribe to this channel for those future videos. Make sure you let me know what you thought of Gavan Infinity, and I hope to see you next time.